Hello there, welcome back to another YouTube video on Ungainly Titan, and we're on Sand River at night in World of Tanks Valor, and I want to talk a little bit about the Stockade, the Object 703 Auto. It's a variant of the IS-3, yet again. It's practically identical to the Valor, with the big difference being, of course, that the gun is a 3-shot autoloader. But other than that, the gun's practically identical as well. I've been comparing them, like, it's both the Valor and it's the same weight as the Valor, it's got the same engine power. So it is slower than the IS-3 when it's fully upgraded. It's also slower, it's also less accurate on the gun. It's 0.46 accuracy on both cases, whereas the fully upgraded IS-3 is this is a 0.46 accuracy. The fully upgraded IS-3 is a 0.4 accuracy, and that also makes a significant difference. Now, I found myself personally that the best thing to do with the IS-3, especially when you're top tier, was to find the enemy heavy tanks and just lay into them, get in close, make the gun work, because he didn't care about hitting weak spots that much, because you were close and you were much less likely to miss. It also helps that the IS-3 and its top gun has about 15mm more penetration than on the base rounds on this thing. That they have about 5 or 10mm more penetration on the heat rounds, but heat's more problematic. Anyway, I always found heat to be somewhat problematic as ammunition, especially since a lot of heat rounds tended to have lower muzzle velocities, although this one seems to be pretty good. And I'm not in the most favourable position here because there's only two of us at the moment, and I do not want to be out in front and get caught with my 30-second reload, which is the biggest weakness of this tank. When they appeared first in numbers on World of Tanks, but I got one around the same time because it was part of the whole Valor operations, and I managed to collect one around the same time everybody else did. But at the time I was trying to get a good game in my Aguila and my Vanguard, and thus I was not I was playing light tanks at the time, and I found them to be not much of an opposition. But I suppose what was happening was that I was running into a lot of people who were overextending, essentially. They were going out, they were on their own, and they were generally being caught by me in their reload cycle. So I drive past them at high speed, get 2 or 3 rounds into them, and they weren't able to reply, so then I could wheel around, reload, come back, and do it again from a different direction. And as well as having the usual heavy tank problem against a light tank where your turret speed isn't going to keep up to a light tank whizzing about you, you have the added thing that you have often no ammunition. You spend a significant amount of the game with no ammunition in the gun. So that's another weakness of this tank, and it means that playing it in kind of traditional Soviet heavy tank role is well, it's impossible, I think, if you're a solo player. You could probably do it if you were in platoons, either platoons of Stockades, platoons of other IS-3s, platoons of similar tiered heavy tanks. Because if you have platoons of Stockades, you could just make sure that there's always someone with rounds in the clip while the others are reloading. And similarly, like if you have regular single-shot tanks, the single-shot tanks can cover the Stockade while it's reloading, because the burst capability is pretty devastating. However, it's not a fast intra-clip shot. It's often worth your while actually pulling back into cover between the shots and the intra-clip. It's a bit like the T-54E1 or even the T-57 Heavy, which doesn't have the fastest inter-clip firing. The only difference between it, say, and the American autoloaders, like the T-57 Heavy, is that For its tier, it's got much better armor, so you can actually sit out there sometimes, just depending on what you're up against, and take the return fire, because if you're hull down or your weak spots are covered, they're not going to penetrate your armor, and you're going to get your 3 rounds off. Of course, if they're not dead when you've gotten the 3 rounds off, then you're in trouble, because most heavy tanks, most tier 8 heavy tanks will put 3 rounds into you, maybe 4 rounds into you, while you're reloading. And if they have an edge on mobility, then they'll put them into you in the sides and flanks where it'll hurt. So it is a problem, and it does make playing this tank, I think, a lot more difficult. I think personally I'd rather the Fatherland, and again that's kind of reflected now. Admittedly, at the moment I'm not too sure how my stats are reflecting, should we say, my playing ability or my things that are going on in the game, because I've had a lot of trouble winning lately. My overall win rate's been actually quite poor. So yeah, my overall win rate for the last month has been about 46%, which is about the same as my win rate on this tank. So I don't know whether it reflects my mastery of this tank or lack of mastery of this tank, or whether it's just kind of a statistical run that just happens at the moment. But certainly I found it very hard to get a win on this tank, and this is probably one of my best games in the tank. So yeah, slow and the reload are killers, because you can't drive away when you're reloading. You have to sort of hope for the best. And if you don't engage close enough, you see, you won't have the accuracy of the shots. The gun is just too inaccurate for reliable penetration, even with like, it doesn't matter really what kind of rounds you're driving. Now I probably ate that too close to the edge anyway, but we missed, and now we're being flanked there. We've an M6 has joined the fun. Now I don't regard the M6 as a big threat, but again we've just dunked into the sand in front of him, and yeah, he's just bouncing him off my turret. So, however, our Centurion is in trouble here, because he's exchanging fire, or he's trading shots with the VK, and even though he's trading at an advantage, we're down so many tanks that we can't afford to be trading. So if he just... No, he's not alive. Okay, so it's two against 1. Fortunately, I'm reloaded, and they don't have a lot of hit points between the two of them. He's one of them because he's low tier. And 1 round in, that's a good roll. Second round, he's dead. We're going to get the 3rd one off, and we get the fire. That was excellent, because that saved my ass. Especially since the AT-15 didn't turn up as well. If the AT-15 had turned up in the middle of that and was sitting there on top of the ridge putting rounds into me, I would be in real trouble. Because the AT-15 could fire every 6 seconds or so. Depending on what kind of crew you had in him, he could be firing every 6 seconds. So you could get 5 rounds into me when I was reloading. And I only got 1 shot. Okay, so 1 shot, because that's all we've left, and after that then it's high roll. Okay, this one has to count. We got it through, and we've got the AT-15 out of the way, and we've brought the count down to even. So we've 2 tanks, 1-on-1, and if that heavy tank ran away towards his friends rather than running away, I don't think that tank destroyer can shoot him where he is. However, now we're down to 1 tank. 2 against 3. 2 against 3. Well, Might as well keep going. My plan was to get into the cap circle and see if I can cap before anyone arrives back to me. I am spotted, which means there's a light tank. And given the location of the light tank, I think he's AFK. And I think I make the biggest mistake that I made in the game so far, which I sat here and actually shot it from outside the cap circle. I should have gone into the cap circle, because that would have been 9 seconds of capping. I don't know if it would have made a difference in the overall course of things, but it might have. It certainly might have changed somebody's mind in terms of what they were doing at the other end of the map. Now I'm down to 3 rounds of high explosives. I don't know if I can take on 2 tanks, especially given what's left. I certainly don't have that much in the line of hit points. There's a VK 101p, which is, I don't think it even hurt. The Yak Panther I could handle, I think. I could probably kill the Yak Panther, especially if I can get it from the side. I'd get full penetration, or near enough anyway. But the VK-101, no, I probably could touch him. The other mistake that I made was that I should have left the cap circle as soon as I knew there was 2 of them in the cap circle, waiting to see if I could beat the clock. Was foolish because I don't think there was any chance that I could do it. I just didn't have enough of a head start. I'm not even sure if I left the cap circle immediately, whether I've gotten close enough to my own cap circle to get a reset. And even if I got the reset, at best I'd have 1 round of ammunition left. So I'm not too sure. I don't think I could have won this game anyway. But I suppose I could still have done better. Something to be noted for the next time at any rate. Overall, I would say it's pretty decent tank, but you got to be aware of its weaknesses. But for preferences, I'd probably prefer the single shot versions. I think it's just a little too slow to make and too inaccurate to make the autoloader really work in the kind of game that we have. Though, like I said, it could be very different if you actually play it in platoons. You could have quite a different experience, and you could make this tank quite devastating because it does have the damage capacity. It just needs somebody to cover it during the reloads. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.